Where are you watching from? And what time is it right now? Because what you're about to witness isn't fiction, it's the shocking true story of a Black War veteran, wrongfully stopped by a racist cop, only for the entire country to find out, he wasn't just any man, he was connected to the Pentagon, and what happened next, no one saw coming. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay to the end, because justice is about to go federal. The sun blazed overhead as retired Staff Sergeant Marcus Tillman cruised down Interstate 70 in his silver Ford Explorer. He had the windows down, letting the breeze hit his face. His German Shepherd, Atlas, lay quietly in the back seat, occasionally lifting his head to look out the window. The dog was more than just a pet, he was a military service companion, trained to detect stress, provide protection, and read Marcus better than most humans ever had. Marcus had served in Afghanistan, Iraq, and several covert missions he still couldn't talk about. He'd been out of the service for 3 years now, but the discipline, the alertness, the readiness never left him. Today, he was headed to a veterans conference in Washington, D.C., a place where former soldiers gathered to advocate for better policies, reconnect, and honor those still in uniform. He was wearing a plain gray t-shirt, cargo pants, and a pair of worn boots, with a military ID badge clipped to his chest out of habit more than necessity. He didn't expect trouble. But trouble came anyway. The flashing blue and red lights appeared suddenly behind him. Marcus frowned. He checked his speed, under the limit. Turned down the music. Signaled right and pulled onto the gravel shoulder. As the cruiser slowed to a halt behind him, he reached for his registration and ID, placing both on the dashboard like he'd done countless times before. The officer didn't approach immediately. Marcus looked in his rearview mirror. The cop was still in the car, talking into the radio. His face was blocked by the reflection on the windshield, but Marcus noted the unusually long pause. "Let's see what this is about," he muttered. Atlas raised his head, alert. The door of the cruiser finally opened. A tall, broad-shouldered white officer stepped out. He wore dark sunglasses and a scowl that felt too familiar to Marcus. The kind of look he'd seen in hostile villages overseas. Except this was Colorado, not Kandahar. The officer placed a hand on his holster as he approached. Marcus kept his hands on the wheel. "Good afternoon, officer. No sudden moves. Keep your hands where I can see them." The cop barked. Marcus nodded. "They're on the wheel." The cop peeked through the window, eyes scanning the inside of the car. His gaze lingered on Atlas. "That dog trained?" "He's a certified service animal." "You military?" The officer asked sharply. "I am," Marcus replied calmly. "Retired Staff Sergeant." "Got ID?" "On the dash." "And my license too." The officer reached in abruptly and snatched both, never taking his eyes off Marcus. "Step out of the vehicle." "Is there a reason I'm being detained?" "Step out. Now." Marcus slowly unbuckled and opened the door. Atlas let out a low growl but stayed in place. Outside the vehicle, Marcus stood straight, shoulders squared. Instincts kicking in, the officer shoved him against the SUV, roughly patting him down. "You want to tell me why you pulled me over?" Marcus asked, voice steady. "You fit the description of a suspect," the officer snapped. Marcus didn't move. "Description of what?" "Armed robbery. Man and dog. Black male. Early 40s. "That you?" Marcus turned his head slowly. "You're kidding, right? Am I laughing?" The officer retorted, snapping on handcuffs. Atlas barked sharply from inside the SUV. "You're making a mistake," Marcus said. "Call it in. My name's Marcus Tillman. My record's clean. And that badge on your chest doesn't give you the right to. You people always got something to say." The cop growled. Marcus froze. That word. "You people," that told him everything he needed to know. The officer shoved him toward the cruiser. "Sit tight. We'll sort this out downtown." "I have rights," Marcus warned. The officer opened the back door of the cruiser. "You can exercise them later." Just then, Atlas jumped from the window of the SUV, teeth bared. He didn't bite, but stood in front of Marcus, protectively growling, "Get that animal back or I shoot." The cop yelled, pulling his firearm. "Atlas. Sit." Marcus commanded. The dog froze mid-step, locked eyes with Marcus, and Saturday, the cop's gun still hovered in the air. "Put the gun down." "I'll leash him," Marcus said. "No sudden moves." Marcus clipped the leash from his belt loop and slowly attached it to Atlas's collar. He's under control. Let's de-escalate this. A second cruiser pulled up. Another officer, a younger woman, stepped out, hand on her sidearm but not drawn. She walked over quickly. What's going on? Robbery suspect. Black male. Dog fits the report. The woman glanced at Marcus, then at Atlas, then back at the first cop. Dispatch said the suspect was 5'8" with a scar over the left eye. This guy's 6'1" and clean-shaven. That's a service animal, not a stray. You sure about this? Mind your business, rookie, the older cop snapped. I am making it my business, she replied. Marcus, still in cuffs, shook his head. I suggest you verify my ID. I'm on my way to a federal event. You saying you're a Fed? The cop sneered. I'm saying call my contact. Major R. Dempsey. Pentagon Liaison Office. There was a pause. The younger officer pulled out her radio. Dispatch, I need an ID run on Marcus Tillman. Possible military clearance. Also check with DC Pentagon Liaison, Major R. Dempsey. The older cop's jaw twitched. Gonna be a long day, Marcus muttered. The static buzzed through the radio as Officer Carla Simmons stepped away from the cruisers, pressing her earpiece tighter. Behind her, Marcus sat handcuffed on the hot pavement beside his SUV, sweat beading across his forehead, not from fear, but restraint. Atlas, leashed and sitting alertly by his side, didn't take his eyes off the officers. Every slight motion from the first cop, Officer Rick Halston, made the dog's ears twitch. Carla's voice was firm but calm. Dispatch, confirm identity on Marcus Tillman. Badge clipped to his shirt says, Retired Staff Sergeant U.S. Army. Request urgent verification through Pentagon contact, Major R. Dempsey. There was a moment of silence. Then the dispatcher's voice crackled through, copy that. Running now. Please stand by. Back near the vehicles, Halston paced like a wolf in a cage, arms folded, eyes darting between Marcus and his partner. You seriously gonna believe some guy just because he drops a name? Carla didn't look at him. I'm following protocol. Something you should try sometime. Halston scoffed. Protocol doesn't stop suspects from running or biting. That dog's a threat. That dog's better trained than half our department, Carla muttered. Halston's face darkened. You siding with him now? I'm siding with the facts. Marcus turned his head slightly. Officer Simmons, you might want to check the glove box. There's an invitation letter from the Office of the Joint Chiefs. It has the contact details you're looking for. Signed. Carla blinked. That wasn't something you just made up. She stepped over to the Explorer and carefully opened the passenger door. Inside, next to a neat folder, sat a glossy invitation, embossed seal, gold trim, and everything. Her eyes scanned it. Defense Intelligence Symposium. Guest, Staff Sergeant Marcus Tillman, Ret. She exhaled. Dispatch, we've got a hard copy invitation from the Pentagon. Printed signature, Major R. Dempsey. There was another pause. Then, confirmed. Dempsey's office is on the line. Patch coming through. Meanwhile, Halston barked from across the road. You playing investigator now? I said we had probable cause. Marcus looked up. Probable cause for what? Breathing while black. You watch your mouth, Halston warned, stepping forward. Atlas growled, and Marcus gave a sharp whistle, instantly calming the dog. Carla lifted a finger toward Halston. Step back. Now. Halston stopped mid-stride. Carla's voice dropped. You're about to make this a national problem. Just then, her radio crackled again. Carla, you're on with Pentagon Liaison Major Rebecca Dempsey. Go ahead. Carla tapped her mic. Major Dempsey, this is Officer Carla Simmons, 8th Precinct, Denver. I have a Marcus Tillman in custody. He claims you're his contact. A clear, sharp voice responded, Officer Simmons, you detained Sergeant Tillman and put him in cuffs. Affirmative. We're trying to resolve the situation now. Put me on speaker. Right now. Carla complied. The voice boomed into the still afternoon. This is Major Dempsey, U.S. Pentagon. You are holding a decorated war veteran, who is also a guest speaker at a classified federal event. I am authorizing immediate release. Any delay will be met with federal escalation. Halston's face drained, Carla turned toward Marcus. Copy that, ma'am. She knelt down and unlatched the cuffs. Marcus rubbed his wrists but said nothing. His composure didn't crack. He simply locked eyes with Halston, and that calm, unreadable gaze was more damning than any insult. Dempsey's voice continued. Put Sergeant Tillman back on the line. Carla handed over the radio. Marcus stood tall. Major. Sergeant. You all right? I'm good. But we've got a situation brewing out here. I figured as much. Stay there. We're sending someone. Don't leave. Yes, ma'am. The line cut. Carla turned to Halston, her jaw tight. She said federal escalation. You know what that means, right? Halston didn't answer. His fingers twitched on his belt. Marcus moved to his SUV. If you don't mind, I'd like to make sure my dog's okay. You startled him. Carla gave a slight nod. Go ahead. Atlas leapt into the car eagerly as Marcus opened the rear door. He ran a quick hand down the dog's spine. We're okay, buddy. Meanwhile, Halston stepped aside and yanked his own radio. Dispatch, this is Officer Halston. I need to report an escalating incident. Possibly involving, Carla cut in sharply. Don't make this worse. You think they're just gonna walk in here and scold us? He snapped. This isn't some Navy recruitment poster. He could be lying. Marcus turned around. You've got the Pentagon on the line and a signed letter in your hand, and you're still trying to play cowboy? Halston's eyes narrowed. You people, finish that sentence, Carla warned. Her hand hovered near her holster. I dare you. A hush fell. Even the trees stopped rustling in the breeze. Marcus stepped forward. Let me guess. You've been itching for a hero moment. Traffic stops, lone black man, dog that looks intimidating. Figured you'd write yourself into a story. Well, Officer Halston, you did. Just not the kind you expected. Halston looked like he wanted to explode. Instead, he turned and kicked a cloud of dust down the slope. Just then, a black SUV with government plates roared onto the scene. Two men in suits stepped out, followed by a woman with aviators and a walkie clipped to her belt. She strode forward, crisp and confident, Agent Ramsey, Department of Defense. She held out her ID. Which one of you is Marcus Tillman? Marcus raised his hand. You're with me. Carla blinked. Wait, just like that? Ramsey turned to her. You did the right thing. Stay out of this next part. She faced Halston. And you? He raised his chin. Officer Rick Halston. She walked right up to him. You're going to need to fill out a report. A long one. At a federal office. Halston's lips tightened. I was doing my job. You might want to reread your training manual. And get a lawyer. Marcus stepped into the back of the black SUV, Atlas hopping in beside him with quiet ease. The air conditioning hissed softly, but the tension in the car was razor sharp. The agent in the front passenger seat turned his head halfway, nodding once. You good, Sergeant? I've been through worse, Marcus replied, buckling in. Agent Ramsey slid into the driver's seat, slamming the door shut before taking off with smooth, deliberate speed. Carla Simmons stood at the shoulder, watching the SUV disappear with a look that mixed relief and anxiety. Halston was already shouting into his radio, but the voices around him were starting to fade into white noise. Inside the SUV, Ramsey didn't waste time. Listen carefully. You just triggered about 6 different agencies. Marcus raised an eyebrow. All that for one rogue cop. This isn't just about a traffic stop, she said. Your name flagged multiple DoD channels. Someone's been tracking your movements, and now that this went public, Pentagon is watching. DOJ is watching. Homeland's watching. Marcus blinked. Public? What do you mean? The agent next to him passed back a tablet. The screen played a vertical video. Halston, gun drawn, Marcus, hands up, Atlas growling, Carla stepping between them, and the moment Halston muttered, you people always got something to say. Who filmed this? A trucker 2 lanes behind you. He live-streamed it. 20,000 viewers by the time it ended. 10 million views now. Twitter. Reddit. TikTok. Facebook. Marcus exhaled. So I'm viral. You're a powder keg. And someone just lit the fuse. They cruised past state lines, now escorted by another dark sedan behind them. Marcus leaned his head back. Where are we going? A secure government facility. Outside Quantico. Ramsey glanced in the rearview. The Pentagon wants a full debrief. And you're going to give it, before this spirals. Marcus folded his arms. I was headed to that conference. Guess I just changed the agenda. Ramsey smirked. You might have just started a war of perception. Meanwhile, back at the precinct. Officer Carla Simmons typed furiously at her desk. Her report was detailed, honest, and dangerously transparent. She attached the video footage, cross-referenced every timestamp, and submitted it to the Internal Review Board. Her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number, "Thank you for your integrity. Keep your head low. Someone's going to come looking for you." She stared at the message for a long second before deleting it. 2 desks down, Halston slammed a drawer. You think I'm scared of the feds? No one replied. His words bounced off the silence. The station buzzed with whispers now. Reporters had started calling. Civil rights groups were tagging the department on social media. The sheriff's office issued a statement. And then came the big one. Pentagon confirms man wrongfully detained was special ops veteran with active security clearance. That headline alone lit a firestorm. Halston's face twisted. This is all blown out of proportion. I was doing my damn job. Carla stood up slowly. No, Rick. You were writing a narrative that fit your fears. Back on the highway, Agent Ramsey's SUV pulled into a nondescript compound tucked behind pine trees. High fences, cameras, steel gates. It was more fortress than office. Marcus stepped out, scanning his surroundings. Atlas stayed close, tail down, body tense, secure and quiet, Ramsey assured him. No press. No politics. Just facts. Inside, Marcus was ushered into a sleek conference room. The walls were lined with monitors. At the center sat a long table, and at the head, a tall black man in a navy suit stood to greet him, Sergeant Tillman. I'm General Charles Mbawini. You've stirred up a situation we've been tracking for months. Marcus took the offered handshake. I didn't plan to stir anything. I was just driving. The general nodded. But your story's a match for a larger pattern. Profiling, abuse of authority, failed protocol. We've had complaints. We needed a public spark. You just became it. Marcus narrowed his gaze. You were waiting for something like this? We were watching. You gave us proof. Another door opened. 3 more people entered, civilian suits, stern eyes, folders in hand, CIA, DOJ, Pentagon Legal Affairs. The room filled quickly. A woman placed a recorder on the table. This interview is now on record. Subject, Staff Sergeant Marcus Tillman. Incident, Interstate 70 wrongful stop, involving Officer Rick Halston of the Denver PD, present, federal observers and legal advisors. Sergeant, we need your full statement. Marcus nodded slowly, then let's begin. 3 hours later, the debrief ended. General Mbawini leaned forward. Sergeant Tillman, there's something else. You weren't just targeted randomly. What do you mean? The general pressed a button. A screen lit up with surveillance images. Marcus at a gas station, Marcus at a diner, Marcus boarding a train weeks ago. You've been followed. Every move. Marcus's blood chilled. By who? We're not sure yet. But you're not the only veteran this has happened to. Ramsey added, and that stopped today. We believe it wasn't just a routine mistake. It was provoked. Marcus straightened. Are you saying Halston was told to pull me over? We're saying the order might not have come from his precinct. A heavy silence dropped across the room. Now the Pentagon's fully involved, Mbawini said. And we want you to help us. Marcus gave a slow, incredulous smile. So after years of service, you're pulling me back in? No, the general replied. We're asking you to be the face of the fight. 3 days later, Marcus Tillman stood behind dark-tinted glass, watching the Pentagon press briefing unfold on a high-definition screen inside the secure facility. He was no stranger to strategy rooms or war tables, but this felt different. Not Afghanistan. Not Iraq. This was home soil. And this was personal. Down below on the screen, General Charles Mbawini adjusted the microphone and cleared his throat. Today, the Department of Defense acknowledges the unlawful detainment of decorated U.S. Army Veteran Staff Sergeant Marcus Tillman. This incident is currently under federal investigation. We are also launching a new initiative, codename Operation Reveal, to identify and dismantle systemic patterns of unlawful profiling against veterans and protected citizens. The room buzzed as media hands shot into the air. Marcus stepped back from the glass, arms folded. Ramsey entered the room behind him. "You just broke the internet again." Marcus grunted. "That's not what I signed up for. But it's what they needed. You've become more than a victim. You're a symbol now." He didn't respond. His gaze settled on a corkboard on the far wall. Pins and strings connected photos, locations, timestamps. At least 9 other names circled in red, veterans, mostly black or Latino, all recently stopped, harassed, or arrested in questionable situations. They were testing boundaries, Marcus muttered. Seeing what they could get away with. And now, Ramsey said quietly, they know they pushed the wrong one. Across town in a Washington, D.C. hotel, Officer Carla Simmons sat nervously in the lobby of a private conference suite. She'd been flown in under Pentagon authority, told only that her report triggered a chain reaction they couldn't ignore. Her fingers tapped nervously on the leather armrest until the door opened and a young military attaché stepped in. "They're ready for you." Inside, the conference suite buzzed with analysts, data teams, federal lawyers. Carla froze as she spotted Marcus sitting at the far end of the room. He rose. "Officer Simmons." She stood straight. "Sergeant." Ramsey motioned to the table. "She stays. We need her for this next phase." Carla's brow furrowed. "Phase?" Marcus gestured to a digital board. It displayed dozens of archived body cam recordings, complaint filings, and surveillance feeds. "You were the first one to file an honest report in 5 years from that district. Your department has been on a list since 2019. And Halston?" He pointed at the center of the board. "He wasn't just profiling. He's connected to a network of data leaks." Carla stiffened. "Wait, what kind of leaks?" Ramsey answered. "We've been tracing stolen metadata on veterans with combat experience. Service dogs. PTSD treatments. Travel logs. All cross-referenced with high-risk racial profiles. Someone was selling that data to third parties. Possibly for targeting." Carla stared, stunned. "And that stop wasn't random?" "No," Marcus said. "It was bait." Back in Denver, Rick Halston sat in his dark apartment, blinds drawn. His phone buzzed non-stop, blocked calls, news notifications, and a mounting pile of voicemails from department lawyers. His badge had been suspended. Internal Affairs had raided his locker. But he hadn't said a word. Not yet, until now. He opened a secure messaging app on his burner phone. A single contact, Viper, Halston, they know. The feds are in deep. I want out. No response. He typed again, Halston, I did what you told me. I took the heat. I kept quiet. Still nothing. He threw the phone onto the couch and stood up, breathing hard. A knock echoed through the apartment. Halston stiffened. Gun holstered, he approached the door slowly, peering through the peephole. 2 men in suits. No badges. He opened the door a crack. You Rick Halston? One asked, who's asking? Federal agents. You've been named in a security breach affecting veteran intelligence files. Halston tried to shut the door, but it was too late. The men stepped forward, flashing real credentials now. You're coming with us. At the Pentagon facility, Marcus entered a private meeting room where General Mbawini waited, arms crossed, jaw tight. Halston's been picked up. He was about to bolt. Where was he going? We're not sure. But his phone gave us a lead, someone named Viper. Deep military background. Used to run training ops in Georgia. Went off-grid 2 years ago. Now possibly running rogue data pipelines. Marcus leaned forward. So this isn't just about bias. This is tactical. Bawini nodded. They're harvesting data on combat-trained minorities. Tracking movement. Patterns. Weak points. Marcus's stomach turned. To do what? Ramsey stepped in from the side. Weaponize it. Politically. Maybe worse. Marcus sat back. You think Halston knew? He didn't start it. But he played his part. And now, we need to flip him. Hours later, Halston sat under harsh white light in an underground federal debrief room. Sweat soaked through his undershirt as Agent Ramsey and two Pentagon officers sat across from him. Talk, Ramsey said simply. Halston hesitated. I don't know who Viper really is. I only knew a voice. Lies won't help you. Halston snapped. I didn't know it would go this far. Ramsey slammed a file down in front of him. 9 veterans, Halston. All of them followed. Some assaulted. 1 killed in an accident you signed off on. Halston's eyes widened. That wasn't me. Then prove it. Give us the trail. Halston swallowed hard. They sent names. I followed orders. From who? Halston looked up slowly. They called it Phase 4. The early morning sky over Washington, D.C. was a blend of gray mist and pale sunlight. Inside the Defense Intelligence Agency headquarters, the tension could be sliced with a scalpel. Marcus stood in front of a massive operations screen as red dots lit up across the East Coast. Each dot represented a confirmed surveillance incident involving a veteran. Some had ended in wrongful arrests. Others in mysterious disappearances. General Mbawini spoke from behind him. Phase 4 was the final step of a shadow operation targeting former combatants, especially minorities, under the false flag of domestic threat tracking. All coordinated through backdoor systems tied to rogue actors. Marcus turned. Why wasn't it stopped earlier? We had suspicions. But no proof. Until Halston cracked. In the center of the screen, the name Viper blinked. Still unconfirmed. Still in the wind, they used Halston and others like him as frontline tools, said Ramsey. Cops. Security agents. Former soldiers gone bitter. They were the boots on the ground to test pushback. You, Marcus. Were supposed to be just another mark. Marcus's jaw clenched. Instead, I became a trigger. Ramsey nodded. Exactly. That same day, a high-level federal court hearing was held behind closed doors. DOJ attorneys, Pentagon brass, and cybersecurity experts gathered in a classified judicial chamber. At the center of the case, the sweeping abuse of military data for unconstitutional surveillance, tied to hate-driven profiling and unlawful detainments, Halston sat pale and silent on the witness bench. He had traded freedom for protection, and now, for the first time, laid bare everything he knew. I received names on encrypted flash drives. Lists of veterans with PTSD, minority background, specific travel patterns. I wasn't told why. Just told to stop them. Question them. Detain them. Sometimes. More. Who gave the orders? Asked the federal prosecutor, a man they called Viper. I never saw his face. Only heard his voice through scrambled lines. I was told to report to him and him alone. Bypass department protocol. The court murmured. The judge banged his gavel. Ramsey turned to Marcus in the observation room. He gave us the drop zone. Viper is due to meet a contact in Maryland tonight. You in? Marcus's answer was already written on his face. That night, in a fog-drenched marina near Chesapeake Bay, 3 black SUVs sat in darkness. Inside, Marcus checked the clasp on Atlas's service harness. The dog's eyes glowed faintly in the moonlight, calm but alert. Ramsey handed Marcus a headset. This is personal. You sure you're clear-headed? Marcus tightened his boots. No more hesitation. Let's end this. A voice cracked over the comms. Movement near Dock 9. 2 targets. 1 unidentified, 6'2". Coat. Hooded. Confirming with facial scan now. The agents fanned out. Marcus moved with the precision of a trained ghost, Atlas beside him. As they approached, a large figure emerged from a yacht. He turned slowly, face still shadowed. "I was wondering when you'd show up," the man said. Marcus froze. He knew that voice. "Viper, you tracked all those veterans," Marcus said, stepping into the light. "You sold our data. You tried to make us enemies." Viper chuckled darkly. "You were always a threat. Brave, trained, loyal, but unpredictable. We needed to control the narrative before someone like you changed it." Ramsey stepped out behind a crate. "That's funny. Because now it's your story that's over." Viper reached for his belt. Too late, Atlas lunged, pinning him to the dock with a deep snarl. Seconds later, agents swarmed in, weapons drawn. Viper was subdued, unmasked, and read his rights, though they wouldn't mean much where he was going. Back in D.C., the fallout was massive. Congress launched hearings, the president issued a national apology, every officer and agent involved in Phase 4 was investigated. Dozens indicted. Policies rewritten, and Marcus, he stood before a massive crowd of veterans on the Capitol lawn, dressed in his old uniform, Atlas by his side. "I didn't ask to become a symbol," he said into the microphone. "But I'm proud to stand for every soldier who came home expecting peace, and found another battlefield waiting." The crowd roared in support. Behind him, a banner fluttered, "Justice for our own." Later that evening, as he returned to his apartment, Marcus sat quietly with Atlas at his feet. No alarms, no threats, just quiet. Ramsey's voice rang through his mind. "You changed the game, Sergeant." And in that stillness, Marcus finally allowed himself to breathe. This fight was over, but the mission would continue. End of Generation 5. The final chapter, 1,000 words. Hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more intense stories like this.